Hi, I'm David Oliver, Tax Director in our Thames Valley office. I'm here today as part of Crowe's People Story Initiative to talk a bit about my family's journey. My wife and I had our first child, a little boy called Arthur, who was born in July 22 at 32 weeks, 8 weeks early. When a child is born early, the baby will require a stay in neonatal care. I didn't, during the pregnancy, think about our baby coming early. Typically, your firstborn tends to be late, so I thought I'd never even crossed my mind. The day Arthur was born was a bit of a whirlwind. We arrived at the hospital around 8:30. We were seen around 10:30, where we were told my wife was in active labour. Arthur was then born 2:30 p.m. the same day. As Arthur was early, we'd not started NCT, and I was very unprepared for the birth, having done no reading or research. The panic really set in when the midwife told us that our baby may not be breathing when he comes out, so if that happens, not to panic. Thankfully, Arthur came out screaming and was described as small but feisty. Arthur was then taken into the high dependency room within neonatal, where he spent the next week or so. He then graduated to room 2, which is for babies who have stabilised and are not as high risk. We certainly didn't expect to be learning how to change our baby's nappy through the portholes in the incubator, or being taught how to feed him through a feeding tube and checking stomach chemical levels before feeding him. In room 2, there is one nurse to every 4 babies, so they're extremely stretched, but they also start to prepare you for home, so it's really important if the parents can be there to look after their baby in any way possible, like changing nappies and at feeding time. We would really cherish the times we were able to get Arthur out the incubator for a cuddle. We didn't do this that often, as you are worried about exposing them when they are still so little. It took Arthur a while to be able to regulate his own temperature. She was in an incubator for 10 days or so. Arthur was in hospital for 25 days in total. It was a very tough time with ups and downs along the way, before eventually being able to bring our boy home. For my wife, it became a full-time job. Sarah would leave the house in the morning to get to hospital for the first feed. She would then be with Arthur all day before coming home in the evening to get some rest. I was still working, so I would go to the hospital in the evening once I'd finished work, and would also try to visit at lunch if I could. Sarah and I were a bit like ships in the night, not spending much time together. We wanted to ensure that one of us was with Arthur for as many hours as we could cover. We've made some great friends in neonatal who are referred to as our Neo family. In particular, Arthur spent most of his time in hospital next to another little boy called Ryder. We have now become close with Ryder and his parents and have gone on a few family holidays together. It's amazing watching the 2 boys grow and develop. Under current employment law, as soon as a baby is born, the birth parent starts maternity leave. For second parents, they have a bit more flex as to when they can take their paternity leave. We met some babies who were born as early as 23 weeks and ended up spending the best part of 6 months in hospital. For any parents with babies requiring a stay in neonatal, it effectively eats into your maternity or paternity policy, which leaves the parents with less time to spend with their babies before they have to return to work. This can put a lot of pressure on families, and they could be in a position where they have spent much of their maternity leave in hospital with their baby, and then must return to work and find a solution for childcare before the baby is really ready to be separated from their parents for large parts of each day. The babies may be strong enough and well enough to be released from hospital, but some may be released still requiring oxygen, for example. It could therefore be hard for babies in that situation to go into a childcare setting like a nursery. Having a baby requiring neonatal care can be life-changing for parents, with the neonatal charity Bliss reporting that a lot of parents suffer with a form of PTSD or other mental health issues. I was speaking to other dads in the ward during Arthur's stay. Some are having to take unpaid leave or annual leave to be there with their babies and not have to work. Others had opted to use their paternity leave to be able to spend the time they wanted to with the babies. The situation parents found themselves in just didn't seem fair. Extra time away from work is often needed to allow both parents to be involved in giving essential care to their baby, supporting each other emotionally, and being involved in any decisions that must be made. It didn't seem right that when babies were taken home, the second parent may have already used their leave entitlement and be back at work, and the birth parent may have used much of their maternity already. There were thankfully already charities canvassing for a change in the laws to provide support to parents whose child needs neonatal care. I had a conversation with our people team at Crowe, and discovered that this was already on their agenda, I was keen to be involved in shaping our neonatal policy. I was able to share the personal challenges I had faced to make sure that policy implemented would provide the support necessary. Having a premature baby is very stressful, but it also comes with additional costs. The daily hospital visits, the food, the drink, the clothes, the cost of running some machines from home. It was therefore important to ensure that any policy Crowe implemented provided support in terms of time off, but also financial support. When your child's in hospital, you don't want the added stress of knowing you're not going to be on full pay. Crowe's neonatal policy allows up to 12 weeks neonatal leave at full pay, and this is a day one right. Being fully funded day one right was important so that anyone joining Crowe knows they've got the policy there should they ever need it. The policy was also implemented at the earliest opportunity, with neonatal leave care and pay bill not coming into law until April 25. Our policy will provide vital support to parents and give them the time away from work to be there for their family, in addition to their intended level of paternity or maternity leave. As part of the conversations with our people team, we also discussed the current paternity policy. Subject to eligibility, Crowe now have 6 weeks fully paid paternity leave, increased from 2, which is such a great benefit for families at such a special time. I hope that no one finds themselves in a position of needing to rely on the neonatal policy, but statistics would suggest they will, with 1 in 7 babies born in the UK requiring neonatal care. Crowe's policy will be invaluable to anyone needing to rely on it. I feared because it was too early. I cried because it was too soon. Yet I underestimated the strength in one as small as you.